What's up, Pisces? This is Jesse with 44 Astro with a super new moon solar eclipse tarot reading. Yeah, that's a mouthful. It is a super new moon, and it is going to be a solar eclipse on April 8th at 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 19 degrees Aries, which puts it in the second mansion of the moon. I'll put a picture of it up. It has to do with overcoming conflict, being confident, but it's also a good time to ask for raises or going to people in positions of authority and asking for like a favor. Get two cards. Okay. Now, what is a solar eclipse in astrology? So the astrology is going to take a little while to explain all this. So a solar eclipse is when the moon blocks out the light of the sun. Okay? It wants to stop right there. So, in an individual, the sun is your ego. It's your mission in life. It's how you relate to things. The moon is your inner world, the unconscious, your mind, your emotions, all these things. So what's going to happen is your conscious ego is about to die. It's about to be blocked so that you can focus on the dark aspects, the things that need to be healed, or the things that need to be recognized. And because it's a super powerful celestial event, and in the yogic traditions or in the Hindu traditions, they believe that during eclipses you could grow exponentially as far as spiritually. It's because essentially the cycle of the sun that takes a year is taking place in a single celestial event, like a day. So think of it as like when the sun, or when a year is complete, or when a year is in progress, everything dies toward the end of the year, right? And it's considered the death because it gets cold, the days are shorter, all the plants die. And then in spring, it's resurrected. That's why Easter takes place in spring, the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. All religions are based off of solar worship or Saturn worship, I promise you. The solstices and eclipses, or equinoxes. So essentially, that death and rebirth of an entire year is taking place in one celestial event. So an individual, if you practice spiritually, whether it be meditation, fasting, whatever your version of spiritual practice is, you can grow a lot in that time. Now, it's also going to be conjunct at 19 degrees Aries perfectly the asteroid Chiron. What is Chiron? Mythologically, Chiron was a centaur that taught Hercules and Asclepius, Ophiuchus, healing. So with Ophiuchus, he taught him, or Asclepius, taught him so well that people became immortal. He was healing them so well they couldn't die. So Hades was like, went to Zeus and says, this can't be the case. This can't happen. And Zeus was like, you're right, it can't. So Zeus struck Asclepius, Ophiuchus, down and then put him in the sky as a constellation. Now, Ophiuchus is considered that mysterious 13th sign of the zodiac. And it's right there in between Scorpio and Sagittarius. It is a fellow juggling a snake, or like wrestling with a snake. It's because it represents wrestling with the material desires and lower energies of our world. And on its head, the foot of Hercules is standing on it. That represents overcoming it. And then above that is an eagle. These are all things associated with Scorpio. That's why Scorpio is the occult sign. This spot of the zodiac is in alignment with the center of the Milky Way galaxy. It's when the sun's there in that time of year. That's when it's aligned. That's where all my planets are. That's why I know so much about it, because I've had to study it. It's that dark spot. Now, he's the wounded healer, Chiron, because when he was training Hercules had arrows dipped in the poison of the Hydra. They were attacked by other centaurs. He was trying to kill them. He accidentally hit Chiron, but Chiron was immortal because he was a god. So he couldn't die, but he was sick from the poison. So he was the wounded healer. Now, and in astrology, it sort of means that. It's things that will make you sick or hurt you in life that if you can overcome, you can show others how to overcome it as well. So you become the wounded healer. But on a mundane level, like in a natal chart, if you see Chiron, especially if it's prominent, a lot of aspects on it are touching the sun or the ascendant or the moon, and a lot of aspects, it can make a sickly person, somebody that can't really be healed. They're just going to kind of be one of those sickly people. Not necessarily die, but you're just going to kind of be sickly and have ailments your whole life. You could die young, but that's not necessarily what it's all about. Or it's someone that's an extreme hypochondriac, extremely worried about being sick, like won't go outside, won't shake hands, like afraid of germs, those kind of individuals. But on the more sacred level, And that's what we're going to be focusing on. He's the rainbow bridge. His orbit is in between Saturn and Uranus, the inner planets to the outer planets. So Saturn on in, because those orbits are short enough that you will see them in your lifetime, multiple of their orbits, you'll see them in your lifetime. Even Saturn, who's around 30 years, or 27 to 31 years, approximately, you'll see multiple, if you live a full life, orbits of him in your lifetime. The outer planets, you will not. You will not live long enough to see a full orbit of the outer planets around the sun, because people don't live that long. Now, he's the bridge in between those two things. So the reason the inner planets represent the individual is because they move enough to where there's so much variation between their aspects and their positions, because they move a lot quicker within an individual's life, that you'll see lots of variation and lots of nuance. So it's very unique and individualized because it moves a lot. The outer planets are considered collective. Now, they when they're touching those inner planets, they manifest in a specific way for the nuance of the individual. But in general, because they move so slowly, they affect everything collectively. One is the material, individual, mundane aspect, the inner planets, and then the outer is the sacred, spiritual, collective. Everything is one aspect. And that's what Chiron represents, the bridge between that to that. That's why he is a key. The symbol is a key, because he's the key to it. Now, the solar eclipse gives us a shortcut. Shortcut's kind of a bad term, but it's a chance to open, and that's what enlightenment is, opening that channel of the unconscious to the conscious. Once you start seeing the symbols and having serendipitous events, synchronicities, that's the unconscious. When you're starting to notice those types of things and you're wondering their meaning in your life, that's when it's opened, right? And you're seeing it consciously and you're trying to understand it. When it's fully open, you can fully understand it, and then you become reborn. That's the aspect of the Christ story, as well as Zarathustra, Quetzalcoatl, the miraculous birth of Buddha with the white elephant. It's all the same story. It's all what we're trying to do, to open up and merge our solar attributes, which are our outer and our ego, and there has to be an ego death to be able to do that. That's why it's death and resurrection, and you hear ego death all the time. Because once it merges with the unconscious, which is already dead, because you're not really conscious of it or what it's trying to do or say, you become a new being, reborn, and that's the representation of the eye. That's why when the chemical symbols, you always see the sun and the moon and an eye, because you have the vision or the sight once it's open, and that's what we're trying to do here. And that's what this event can do for an individual if you put in the work or you are so inclined. Spiritually sensitive people will have a much better time with it. The sun is in Aries, which means he's exalted. So he's going to be really strong right now. And he's in the second decan of Aries, which he rules, which makes him even more powerful. I'd use a Western system. So each sign to me has 30 degrees, even though it's not exactly what it is, but it's the most accurate system that I've come across that seems to be the most accurate. There are 12 signs. There are 30 degrees in each sign. Each decan is 10 degrees, so you get 3 decans of 10 degrees in each sign. The second decan of Aries, at 19 degrees, would be in the second decan, is ruled by the sun. So because of that, he's even more powerful. And the moon is in a super new moon, which means it's as close in the orbit as it can possibly get to the Earth. So it's an elliptical orbit on the ends, it's further out because it's an oval, but on the sides it's going to be closer. So it's going to be as close as it can to the Earth. So it's powerful, and also occurring on a Monday, which is Moon's Day. Okay, with all that being said, this is a very powerful chance to open ourselves up to our dark aspects and work on them and heal through the wounded healer, our own wounds. But we have to be able to acknowledge them and feel them. And this is a perfect time for that. And we'll even see it in our world, right? Because this is the sign of Aries, which is the god of war. What's going on in our world right now? There is a war in Ukraine, a war in Palestine. We're about to have to focus on that darkness, and either we're going to focus it and try to find a resolution and heal it, or it's going to expand and get worse. But we're about to find out. Let's just hope it is the latter. Okay, and if you are a Pisces ascendant, this is going to occur in your first or second house. So you may find that you have an illness if it's your first house and it needs to be healed, or you are healed from an illness. Okay, second house is a house of money or your possessions. So you may lose some possessions, or you may gain some possessions. You have a healing in your financial life or the way you make money. Those types of things would be possible. That's only if you're a Pisces ascendant. And to know your ascendant, you need to know exactly when you were born, because like the inner planets, the ascendant changes every 2 hours. It means there's a lot of change in it. So there's a lot of nuance to it as well. That's why it's very important you almost know to the minute, so you know the degrees, so you can get all the correct aspects. Okay, Pisces. That being said, let's get to your reading. I hope that gave you some clarity on what's going on celestially right now with this astrology. You had 2 cards. Your commitment is being tested. It's always an interesting card. And it's time to release negativity. So you're going through something right now. It looks like heartbreak. Because there's a lot of heartbreak and betrayal here. That's what it looks like. Or what it feels like for you. So the current situation is this could have been a fire sign that you're focusing on, that this was involved with. That this fire sign affected you in some way. Or this fire sign looks like they're running away. Like they're running that direction. There could be a fiery type individual. It could be you leaving a situation, right? Because you have the 8 of Cups here. But it's likely that this person is walking away from you, or you feel like they're leaving you, or you're walking away from them because you felt like they backstabbed you, right? This fire sign either backstabbed you, or you decided that you're going to backstab them and go your own way. But it's definitely heartbreak. This screams relationship. It's relationship related. I can't read this any other way. That's heartbreak is on your mind. So whatever happened here is breaking your heart. You either had to walk away because of what they've done, or they're walking away from you for some reason. There's a lot of confusion in the recent past. They were probably keeping secrets from you, or you've had to keep secrets from them. Again, in the unconscious, not being able to make a decision or not seeing why things are happening the way they're happening and having to walk away. But you right now, you're getting clarity. Like you're going to find out why all this is happening. It's saying release negativity. So if you had to leave this person or they're leaving you, see it for what it is. See the truth. This is you right now looking at it, trying to figure out the facts, trying to figure out why this is occurring, trying to understand. And it looks like your environment, you're feeling like you're being blocked and you don't see why this is happening, like it's unfair. Like you don't want this to be occurring. It looks like this relationship was not a good one. The advice is don't stay in this relationship. It's like a chain around your neck. This is people together, not for love, just because this is more like they're stuck together. They feel like they're stuck together because of like financial reasons or because they have kids and they don't want to be happy. I mean, you need to do what's best for children always. But this is not a healthy relationship. This is more about control than it is about love. It's more about possessing the individual than it is about loving them. And loving them is, if you truly love someone, you want them to be happy, which means whatever they want to do, if it makes them happy and you love them, you're going to want them to be happy. That's what true love is, putting someone before you. Now, if what they're doing is hurting you, and that could be what happened here, you need to do what's best for you. You can't just let somebody walk all over you. You have to walk away. And it looks like there was an argument, but it looks like you had the higher ground, or you feel like you had the higher ground. But either way, there was an argument. And you're going to have to walk away. Looks like you're going to come out with more swords than they are. Whatever that means, right? Somehow you're going to come out with more. Maybe it's possessions. Maybe it's maybe you come around with custody of the children, that type of thing. This is definitely a bad breakup. It can't be read any other way. I'd be lying if I tried. Like I can't spin this. This is a bad breakup. This is a separation or loss. And it's definitely a relationship. Heartbreak, the devil. This wasn't a healthy relationship, though, so it needed to be. It needed to be walked away from. And this is a great time for healing, Pisces, with this astrology. This is a great time. If this doesn't resonate for you, watch your other signs, right? But this is for some specific Pisces. They're going through some right now. They're going through some kind of separation. But that's part of life, right? It's saying your commitment is being tested, and you're going to have to release negativity. So you're really going to have to be committed to walking away and staying away. Like, don't rely on them. Like, controlling types will do their best to string you along. Don't let that happen. Release them and release the negativity. Start anew. This is what this is all about. Focusing on the darkness, bringing it to light, and healing. That's what we got going on now celestially. This is a great time for courage and overcoming conflicts too with the mansion of the moon. So you have everything you need to be able to overcome it. You just got to be strong, and you got to see things clearly for what they are. Okay, Pisces, that's all I have. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it will help me want to make more videos, and it'll, promote the videos more and get the watch hours I need, because that's what I'm lacking right now is watch hours. If I don't get my watch hours by July, it was all for naught. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily quit, but I don't know how much more I'll really put into it as far as like astrologically. I'll probably still do the tarot readings. I'm just trying to get it monetized so I can really go heavy into the astrology. I'm still going to do the tarot readings. I just got to get them watch hours. I got like a third of what I need. I have very little amount of time to get them. Either way, you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just grateful that you're here and you watched the video. And I hope to see you here again, Pisces. Happy solar eclipse, super new moon.